You guys ever wonder what it would be like to go out with a scary Eastern European woman who's possibly a red flag, but still pretty enough to make you think, I could take her?
No. No, I have been through enough today. I am not getting drowned in a lake. And again, I've lived a full life. Ladies! Don't worry, there's plenty of antagonists to go around. I think she likes me. Did you bring a towel?
No, guys, I swear, once you get past the accent and her homicidal urge to drown you, they are actually really nice ladies. Hi, if you're new to the channel, welcome to this series where I tell you why it's a bad idea to date fictional women. The red flag does not belong in the sleeping bag. Yeah, you think drowning would be a good enough deterrent, but no. No, that's actually a turn-on for some of you fellas. And it's a strength I admire, I really do. This one's gonna be a bit of a quickie, because there aren't really any anime counterparts to the Rusalka, by which I mean none at all. No history that I gotta red thread together, no fanfic that I have to create, nope, it is a mythos that exists, just a Russian woman who got drowns who likes to drowns other people. Maliciously simple. The way that I usually do these videos is that I tell you about the real-life lore of the monster girl in question. I then follow that up with a segment of how you can protect yourself if you should actually run into one of them, and then I finish up with my personal thoughts, which usually ends up with me talking myself into wanting to date the monster girl, but not this time. No, this isn't going to be long enough for that. Usually I'd use that segment for an interview too, but surprisingly I couldn't find a Rusalka that was... cooperative. That said, if you have an inkling of curiosity as to why you wouldn't want to date the Rusalka apart from the whole drowning thing, then stick around because we are going to cover that in a bit. Before beginning these videos, I usually start by saying that I am not a solid researcher, I am passionate about the craft, but there are some things that I could be wrong about. So if I am wrong about anything, feel free to correct me in the comments below, or you can tell me how you'd go out with the Rusalka, because I'll be honest with you, after reading about her, I don't really see how it would be possible or very feasible, because as you're going to find out, she's bound to where she haunts, more or less. But hey, maybe I'm just weak-willed. Prove me wrong. Because she might play rough with us. She might be a danger to our health and maybe slightly life-threatening. But let's be honest here, fellas. We can care less. So without further ado, let's get into why dating the Rusalka is a bad idea. The Rusalka stems from Slavic lore in Eastern Europe, and we don't really know how old she is, but it would be fair to say that she is a bit on the ancient side. The look of a Rusalka is that of a beautiful pale woman with long flowing green hair, and she is either wearing a robe of mist or nothing at all. I guess with a robe of mist it would still technically be see-through, but honestly I have no idea how that sort of thing would work. It'd be so much easier if I had that interview. One of the most key features of the Rusalka was that she would always be around a body of water, and the reason for this would change from the ancient period to the modern day. But in the modern telling of the Rusalka, the reason she's said to hang around a body of water is because it is said that is where she tragically lost her life. This could span anywhere from self-inflicted to accident to it having been done by a really bad man. But either way, in the modern retelling of the Rusalka, she's more like a boogeyman that haunts the lake and hurts anybody that gets close. There's no central reason as to why she does it. There are people that say she does it because she was tragically murdered, and so she does the same thing to anybody else because she's just really, really angry. And there are some people that say she just does it for fun, like straight up it's a pastime for her, so don't go near a lake if you're in Russia. So there's no one universal way as to why she hurts you, but what is universal is the way that she does it. Because while the modern Rusalka has more or less taken away its more benevolent and fun-loving side, the Rusalka is still a beautiful woman that taunts men to the lake or to a local body of water where they are haunting using her looks. I'll bet it really helps when you have long flowing hair and a robe made out of see-through material. One thing I forgot to mention is that the reason behind the long flowing hair is that it's meant to make her look more desirable, because in Slavic culture, once you are married, the hair gets tied up, and it's sort of like a symbol that you are not single, you've been taken. But the long flowing hair is a symbol that you are not married, and you are single, and you are ready to mingle. Spiritually. And possibly physically. But yeah, her motif is that she calls you over to the lake, and because you are an innocent Slavic boy who's only grown up around women with their hair tied up, you're gonna go in for a closer look. But uh-oh, now you've gotten too close and you're within grabbing range, and so she will proceed to end you using one of two methods. She will either start tickling you, and you will either laugh to death, or you will laugh until you run out of air, to which she then forces you under the water, and you drown. Or you get too close and she's able to use her hair as like a appendage, kind of like that one girl from Frieren, I forget her name. But yeah, she's able to use her hair as like separate limbs to pull you into the lake, hold you under, and then drown you from there. But you're probably wondering, how strong can a spirit woman's hair be? I could probably fight my way out of it. Well, there's where you're wrong, because you see, the Rusalka also comes with a built-in, I don't want to say defense mechanism, because she's using it for offense here, but she comes with a built-in tool. It's said that her body is supposed to be as slippery as the water, so if you tried to fight back, or if you tried to grab onto her to get your head above for air, it wouldn't work because you wouldn't have any friction to grab onto. No, slippery body does not mean lube. We're not dating this one, I mean it. I was able to find other details as to how the Rusalka operates. Like, for one, it said that she sort of acts like a doppelganger, where if you come near the lake, she dresses herself in the way that you would find most appealing. So whether it's flat as justice or medium as premium, furries, Pokemon, young Orlando Bloom, doesn't matter, she'll figure you out. It's also said that if you get close enough and she takes you under the water, her body then starts to change into that of a skeletal, malnourished, scary-looking vampiress being that looks hideous compared to her more beautiful self. It's kind of like how the old Barbie dolls used to change their hair color when you dipped them in water. Don't ask me how I know. Only if you're really unlucky and you get this kind of Rusalka, you could dip her underwater and she turns into, I don't know, a Skeletor.
I got you this time, He-Man.
So far I've kept teasing you that the Rusalka was a lot nicer back in the ancient days than she is in the modern day. And the reason behind that is mostly because, I'd say, dependence. The reason for that is because in a time before Christianity, the Slavs, or just the people who lived in the area, I don't know if they were referred to as Slavs yet, but the people of the area believed in pagan gods that more or less controlled all of nature around them and controlled the way that things worked. And to that extent, the Rusalka was a creature that was sort of like the right hand of the gods that acted on their behalf, helping plants grow, helping with fertility of local populations, and helping keep the water clean. By all purposes, she was a really benevolent spirit, as long as you didn't piss her off. But even if some random villager goofed up in some arbitrary fashion, like peeing in the lake, they would appease the Rusalka by holding Rusalka festivals, which still continue to this day in a festival called Rusalka Week, or Green Week. It's during these festivals that people of the area would give food and praise to the gods, and in return, the gods would give them bountiful harvests, fertility, and everybody would hold hands and sing Kumbaya. So at this point in my research, I was wondering what you're probably wondering now. What the hell happened? Things seemed to be going well, and then all of a sudden this benevolent, life-giving spirit ended up becoming a Russian boogeyman that drowns men by lakes just because they happen to be walking nearby. And of course, the internet and articles that I have found do not really give me a straight answer, but the best one that I was able to find is that once Christianity gets introduced to the area, it does what it does to most monsters and pagan spirits of the time, which is to vilify them and make them out to be monsters. But this doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because Christianity must have been introduced to this area hundreds of years beforehand, like back in the year 0, right? And it wasn't until the 19th century that the modern Rusalka that drowns people started to exist, and stories like that started to spread. So I don't think that Christianity took like a 1800-year hiatus before it started saying, no, lake woman bad, don't believe in her. So there has to be some other reason to it. And so the other reason that I found was that it might have had something to do with the Gothic revival in the area and rise in stories that talked about the macabre. By the 19th century, ghost stories and vampires took the world by storm, and places in Eastern Europe that already had spirits like this in place were probably no exception to that rule. But of course, telling a story of a spirit nymph that helped our town survive isn't going to put us on the map. No, we're going to need something a little more dangerous than that. So my theory is that the Rusalka kind of went through a literary shift from that of a benevolent being to a maleficent one. I hope I'm using that word right. A more aggressive one, just to embellish the story, just to really put a town on the map, just to make it more interesting to tell. Which by all means, they created a really interesting monster, but it's not good for the Rusalka because she's being slandered, and that's sad. At least despite the embellishment, she's still canonically hot, so there's that. From the 19th century forward, there have been many literary and film adaptations that have included the Rusalka, including, I believe, a musical that was based around her. I don't quite know when it was written off the top of my head, but I remember reading about a musical that was created for the Rusalka. Because, like, you know, if people still believe in spiritual revenge, then they better be giving the Rusalka everything they got and then some, because that is some serious slander that they have to pay for the past 200 years. And people still do this in the form of Rusalka Week, which is that celebration that I mentioned that took place in ancient times that continues to the modern day. It's during this time that people still appeal to the Rusalka by giving her sacrifices, not human ones, but just food and other material, as well as praise and decorations and dances to appease her, keep her from being angry. Apparently during this time, the Rusalka is also allowed to leave the lake and be amongst the living, just for a time, sort of like the Day of the Dead, I guess, in Mexico. Only for the Rusalka, they get an entire week, they get to see what the world of humans is like shortly before the week ends, and they're banished back to the water. I'm not sure what entirely goes on during Rusalka Week, but I was able to find an article that describes it pretty well, so let me read a few passages from that to give you an idea. In a forest clearing, they would hold their ceremony. A young girl would be chosen as the Rusalka. Her dress would be adorned by branches of birch, and flowers would be woven into her hair. Birch trees were seen as a symbol of the deceased soul, so one of the trees would be chosen, and girls would bring it offerings, fried egg, bread, butter, and beer. Later, the chosen birch would be cut down, dressed in women's robes, decorated with garlands, colorful ribbons, and pieces of cloth. The tree was then destroyed, usually by drowning. How do you drown a tree? With this, the women secured the goodwill of the Rusalki, sacrificing to them in order to protect their community. Yeah, okay, not gonna lie, that does sound a bit on the odd side, but it also sounds really fun. And so the Rusalka sits in Eastern Europe to this day, with the more negative side of its story being its more prevalent one. But there is a bit of romanticism to it, and I think it's best described by one article that I read that said that the Rusalka was sort of like a symbol for nature itself. Today, she still represents universal beauty and is respected, as well as feared, which in itself could be a nod to the duality of womanhood, that of its more caring and nurturing side, and its more terrifying side, the alluring yet perilous lady of the lake, the Rusalka. If you manage to find one of these, there isn't really much that I could tell you in the way of saving yourself, because the Rusalka doesn't really seem to have any weaknesses. Her body is physically made to kill you. Insert significant other joke here. There is one article I found that had some sort of weakness to the Rusalka, which read, "She can die with peace when her soul is avenged." I imagine that means that if you hunt down the man that drowned her, your soul will be spared. That does all but nothing if you are immediately caught by a Rusalka. Like, you can't just say, like, oh yeah, if you let me go, I'll be a bounty hunter to kill the man that drowned you. That's not... I don't imagine that working. I think the better way to avoid a Rusalka is just to avoid bodies of water in Eastern Europe altogether. Just plan that as a part of your vacation. There could be some telltale warnings as well, like if you happen to be crossing a river in Poland and you hear a woman laughing, you get the fuck out of there! If you're in Russia and you happen to hear Hatsune Miku singing on the other side of the Volga River, it's probably not her. Get out! Why did Ria Scremery come here to Belarus to visit me? I don't know, but it's probably not for a good reason. That's when you slap yourself across the face, bite yourself down on the hand, say this genjutsu won't work on me, and then walk out of the field. Fellas, all I'm saying is just be safe out there. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And if you really think that Miku Nakano is beckoning to you at the Black Sea, give me a call, because I need to inspect that first. You know, just to test if it's safe for the rest of you. Not all heroes wear capes, some of them wear robes. As far as personal thoughts, would I date the Rusalka? Probably not, and I know that she is supposed to be a beautiful woman that will take on any shape that I so desire, but in a practical sense, it feels like a long-distance relationship that couldn't possibly work. For one, she's tied to the water that she is haunting. Even in a best-case scenario where she could be by any body of water, that significantly lowers where we can go on dates. We can probably only go to the boardwalk, which would be one of my most ideal spots, yes. The aquarium, which, okay, that is also pretty good, but I probably can't take her to the movies, I probably can't take her to my hometown, I probably can't take her to anywhere that's landlocked, really. It's just limited. Chances are I'll probably end up with a bad Rusalka. Even if I do get one of the good benevolent spirits, she probably has a job to do. She probably has more time that she needs to spend with the people that she's caring for, rather than for me. I'd rather not take her away from her work. Or worse, be a part of it. I'm also kind of skeptical about her slippery body, which, yes, would probably be fun for hugs, but at the same time, that means that she is winning every fight. Every fight. I do kind of like the idea of her using her hair as multiple appendages, because imagine she uses that to, like, give you a hug, pull you close so you can't get away, and then gives you a smooch on the cheek. Ah, that'd be cute. And then maybe if you can travel by carrying just a small bit of the water that she's haunting with her, like in a little bottle or something, so that way she can walk around and she's free to do that. then I can kind of imagine it working. And that's, again, the best case scenario. In the worst case scenario, she wants to drown me. I don't want her to drown me. I love life. I want to keep my existence. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't think it's gonna feel good if she uses her hair for that. It's better as bondage material. We'll just leave it at that. With that, that is everything that I have on the Rusalka, at least everything I have to say about her. If you guys are sticking around till this point in the video, you guys are absolute mad lads. Extra antagonist points for you. You guys are the best. The Rusalka isn't really anime related, which is kind of different from what I want to go for with my channel, because I'm more so an anime channel at heart. That's kind of where I began. This was pretty easy to do, mostly because the Rusalka has its own mythos and everything already planned out, and there are tons of girls that sort of cover that. It's just they don't really have an anime counterpart, and that said, they don't really have a VTuber for me to interview either. But it'd be nice to do maybe 1 or 2 of these every now and then, just to, you know, keep it small. Just make a video that's small enough for someone to watch during lunch. Stay tuned for the next one where we're covering vampires. That's gonna be a real fun one, especially since Halloween's coming up. It's my time of the year, baby. Yes! Hot cosplay costumes and pretending to be something that you're not. I enjoy that a lot. But yeah, with the fall season, I'm hoping to kick it into overdrive because I'm more of a nighttime worker, so I'm starting to gain the advantage, but also because it just feels like that time of year where we're talking about monsters and cryptids, and it fits. But with that, that's all I got for you. Sayonara, suckers.